Well, all right, y'all. It's AshRand Career Solutions. And today we want to talk a little bit about building systems, right? For those who have businesses. Now, this is extremely important because if you do not have these systems in place, you're going to be hustling, you're going to be burned out, right? So we want to make sure that you can sustain that business with these systems. So we're only going to go over a few things because I know you guys are struggling with that day to day. And I'm going to tell y'all from a personal perspective. I struggled with building systems for at least the first year and a half of my business. And then my business started to run me. And I said, oh, absolutely not. We have to put in some systems. And so, Randy, did you have any thoughts about building those systems as well?
Yeah, I can tell you, I struggle with this. I go back and forth because I want to put my dusty little hands in everything, and that breaks systems. Putting these systems together is going to be not only good for you if you're the business owner, but if you're an employee and you see this, you go out there and says, "Hey, I want to show you this, and I want to help you." So you may see a busy owner that's out there just doing the most, and it's burning everybody else out. So I want you to look at this from multiple perspectives. As an employee inside of a hustle culture, and if you're the business owner, looking at it from that perspective too.
No, absolutely. And I know sometimes we were taught to have that hustle culture, but sometimes it doesn't quite work for us. And so that's what we need to talk about too a little bit today. So, getting started, the hustle myth, okay? Because busy does not equal productive, okay? Let's start off there. I can personally say from being a business owner myself and working for an employer that had that hustle culture, I felt like I wasn't getting anything accomplished, right? I had all of these things happening. The dots wasn't quite connecting. And I was just like, I have to be here. I have to do these things. I have to do these things. And then lo and behold, a blink of an eye, I was ready to give up because I was
Yeah.
so burnt out. And that's when I learned that that myth is definitely a myth. Busy does not equate to productiveness, okay? You
Yeah.
cannot make anything happen if you're just all over the place.
And that's something you kind of get to a point where after you've had your singe moments, I like to call them, and we've all experienced it, right? I like to say, I don't burn out, I'll take a nap. No, sometimes when you don't want to go back to your thing, when you go, oh, this is not good, then you know you might be burnt out. But I'm really, really concerned about from the employee perspective, not just the business owner.
Absolutely.
If you're burnout, guess who else probably is? And you better be paying them real well, or they're just super, super desperate. Otherwise, you're just going to smash everybody. So, when we talk about these systems, we're going to give you a couple of ideas that you should be able to take and go, I can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just one more thing too before we kind of head down that road, Randy, I want to point this out. I do understand for so long we have been taught to work hard and
Hmm.
to have that burnout, especially when you're an employee, because people glorify like the harder you work, the more you burnt out. That's what's going to equal to success. And that is absolutely not true. This make me think about that movie, The Devil Wears Prada,
Uh,
where we had Miranda's like, "Yep, you have to do
yeah,
X,
I
Y,
know
and
that.
Z," and it's
Yeah.
not the same, right? Like it's we are in a different culture now. Work and business owners, we're starting to evolve and we're starting to learn that these are clearly those myths. And so, Randy, we're going to get into those tips you were just mentioning as
Hmm.
well. And so this is kind of where that hustle becomes very real, right? Let's kind of break it down a little bit before we head there as well. Um, Hustle can fill those gaps when systems are missing.
Mm.
And kind of what we mean by that is that we're like, oh, I absolutely need to do this one thing, but this other thing need to be taken care of. So I'm just going to try to spread myself like a starfish to do both. But when you implement a system there, you can knock down two birds with one stone, right? And that's kind of what the tips is going to be about. And then sometimes You may not have those clear processes, right? You're offering services that you
Hmm.
don't have a process for, or the organization that you're working for. They're taking on new initiatives, they're doing new things, and they can't simply say no. So they're like, we can figure out the infrastructure later. And then everything just kind of falls on your plate. And so you're like, I gotta absolutely do everything. And I can remind you, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So it's important to delegate. And Randy, what do you feel about what that hustle looks like and
Yeah.
what's important for people to know?
And here's a big deal, y'all, is that when we talk about these no clear processes, go out of town, leave your business. Now watch this. Go out of town, leave your business, and then I would ask you what happened. Oh, I would call back and I would let, da 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 know. Oh, so you would do that while you're on vacation, trying to enjoy your family? That's when you really know you got nothing. You got no clear process. Does would somebody call you directly on your cell phone to get an answer with that? Hmm. Yeah, no clear process. And you may say to yourself, well, I don't mind things depending on me. Well, guess what? If you went down, and I've seen it happen, I had a very good friend of mine just recently who she got into a car accident.
Mhm.
She is the business. She's the engine behind the business. So when she got in a car accident, the business got in a car accident. And that exactly what you do not want. If a phone call comes in, let's see if we can't route it somewhere else. We're going to be diving into some of the particular how-tos a little bit later, but if we can inspire you with just what we're talking about now, and if you see that employer with that organization and you're the employee there, give them this and then have them call us.
No, absolutely. And another thing to add as well, I know some of you out there, when you're working for these organizations, you become the important one. And so when you become that important one, it's always it's imperative that you have processes as well because again, just like Randy said, you can't go on vacation and now you're getting calls because you're that important one and everything depends on you because again, it's okay to be the driver, but there's other people in the car that have a license to drive too. Let them be the drivers as well. It does not have to depend all on you. So making sure, even if you're that important person at work, and y'all know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
make sure y'all
Yeah.
have those processes in place and make sure you can delegate for other drivers to step in that driver's seat.
And it's hard. Trust me, we know it's hard. It's hard to kind of take your foot off the gas and let somebody else do some stuff. But guess what? If you always driving, that means you're putting the whole potential thing at risk. Why is that? You're putting them at risk because you're going to be tired. Come on. Anyway,
It's all about sustainability, not burnout, y'all. That's what the
that's it.
core is. And so let's talk about a little bit of what that looks like, right? Like what do those systems come in? Um, how can we get this accomplished, right? Repeatable ways work gets done, okay? When you're repeating those same systems, it can help you accomplish the things that you absolutely need to accomplish. So it's important that you have that. And also, a decision you do not make twice, right? You don't have to keep repeating that. Once
Yeah.
you set that one system up, all you have to do is allow it to run itself. And so, Randy, what do you feel about that?
I got a prime example. So I was working with this, or am working with this VA team. And now I'm working with this team because I'm creating some stuff around that, right? For VAs with AI, da da da. So what I did was I gave them use of my AI, some AI tools, and I'm just hired them just to see how they work, blah blah blah, with my own stuff before I test it out on somebody else. And they kept calling me, "Hey, can we meet about this?" No. Well, what do you want us to do with this? And I says, okay, here's what I would like you to do. You've seen the work that I've asked of you. This is what I want you to do. I want you to create a skill. In this particular case, they were using ChatGPT. I says, create a custom GPT of just my stuff so that it becomes repeatable. So now, and then I also told him, I said, I want you, even this, I want you to schedule stuff out. Now, they may look at that and go, well, we're the VA team. We pressed the button. Mm-mm, not with my stuff. Because I can do that. I can, schedule things out, but I would still get in my own way by having my hands in it. And then I would
Mhm.
have to schedule it. That's time, 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 time. So that becomes the opportunity. Now, what I also do is I don't let them call me and try to get me on these darn phone calls.
Mhm.
Uh, Because I've already told you what to do. Now I'm getting ready to make the decision twice. That's time for me. And I refuse. I'm telling you, I say, we will not be meeting. Decide, determine, and do it.
Absolutely. And again, once you establish this system, you only have to do it once. Right? I mean, unless the system is not quite working, you have to adjust, but mainly having one and adjusting later is easier, right? You can
Hmm.
take it a step at a time. You don't have to go all the way in and create these systems, especially if you're one of those people such as myself that is is scattered and it's like, "Oh, I'm innovative. I'll come up with these things and I just
Yeah,
go
yeah,
head for it."
all of us
That's all
suffer
of
from
us.
that.
Right? So try to make sure that you can set that system and you set it once, because once you set it once and then adjust, it's easier that way, right?
Here's an example, and this is a little technical, and you may have to look into this. But so I sign up for this somebody's webinar or something, right? And I love signing up for webinars, right? I may
Oh
not
yeah,
show
they're the
up, but
best. They're
I
the
love
best.
signing up for him because I know this guy, I've been watching this guy, da da da. Anyway, so I signed up for his webinar, and he asked for the phone number, which I typically don't get, but I'm game. Within 10 minutes, I get a phone call. Now, do you think it was really Bill on the other end? No, they got a system. If a and they probably have it in their software where if somebody signs up, they put their number in, they immediately get an automated call that says, "Hey, this tells you what to do next." I appreciated it
Hmm.
because it was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I wonder why like insurance companies don't do that. Man, somebody from the office called. They were like, well, we don't get paid to do that. I'm like, well, send me a pigeon, a note, or something. Nothing. Right. And I'm not the only one. So I say this from that becomes a part of how you get repeatable work done without you having to say, oh, shoot, I got to call them. No, we stop that.
Oh yeah. And if you're one of those people that have different tools that you use, even when you're booking with clients or regardless if you're working or as a business, make sure that's those systems have those systems that you can use too,
Right.
right? Like for example, I'll say candidly, right? Like if I have a client and I need to send out a reminder to that client that we're meeting at this time, it does it for me. I don't have to stop what I'm doing to say, "Hey, we're meeting at
Yeah.
5:30 today." Right?
Right. There you go. I mean,
Yeah,
automated. That's it. It's
that's
good.
it. That's it. And so signs your business relies on hustle because some of you are probably looking at this and like maybe that's not me. I kind of have a system going. Like no, let's look at that. Let's uncover it a little bit. If you cannot step away, right? Just like we were just mentioning
Mhm.
before. If you cannot step away, your business or even just what your organization relies on that hustle, right? Inconsistent revenue, right? Where you get some money here in this quarter, but then you don't get money here, which sometimes that's debatable, depending on what business you're in. Some things go up and down. But if it's extremely inconsistent, it relies on you, that driver, that engine, to bring it in. And if you feel like you're always behind, your business relies on that hustle.
And key thing, yeah, right? Key thing, y'all, is two things: inconsistent revenue and always behind. Inconsistent revenue and you're always behind. Think about that for a minute. Revenue's all up and down. When I get the hustle on, it goes up. When I go get the hustle on, it goes down. When I get the hustle on, it goes up. When I don't get the hustle, we got to stop that.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be talking a little bit in a few minutes about what things to do. And then we're going to make an offer to you to work with us because we do this stuff all the time. We've developed some strategies, we've got some systems, we got some people, we got some things that we do, and we can advise you on it. So let's just consider that.
And let's get right into it. So the four core business systems are these here, right? Operations, revenue, marketing, and decision making.
Ooh,
These are the
big.
things we have to consider there when we are building those systems. And so,
Yeah.
Randy, give me an example
Mhm.
of these core business systems that you use to
Yeah.
make sure that you have things going.
Now, operationally, I'll give you an example. Just when I'm doing one of these podcasts, right? I say, after I do a podcast, here are the three things I do next. A, I let the podcast cool because I
Good.
try not to get it while I'm hot because I will remember, mistakes I made and I will overdo it on editing. Okay. So cool. Now these are operations just on this part. Now, do I still do some of my own editing? Yes. Very specific for very specific reasons. Is that I get energized by what I hear. And then I start thinking about what I want to take this piece of information and create from it. So that I need it in essence. Okay. It cools first. Second, then I go, okay, I open up my editor. This is what I do. I open up my editor. And then the very first thing I do is I drop it in and I start looking at gaps, looking at things that we may have said, like my camera just did that.
Yep.
Looking at things. So I started looking for gaps. So I try to make it very, very clean and very, very fast because I don't want to be bogged down with it. But then once done, once I have the raw file, next three, it goes to YouTube. Now I don't put it out on YouTube right away in terms of it being live. I put it out on unlisted. So I've given you three things that I do, right? Let it cool, go edit it, then I put it on YouTube. Now I get the link. The moment I get the link, then I say, okay, from this link, because I use YouTube not only as a compression engine, I use it to get me that link because I can put that link so many different places and get transcripts from it. I can make shorts from it. So that's what I do. I put it in one of my tools and I get all the transcript. Bam. Then in that same tool, I get all of the keywords. Boom. And the keywords are rated. So you seeing what I'm doing here? And then I got another button I push that says get all the shorts.
And that's a good system, Randy. For
That's just
me,
operations.
that's operations. And
Yeah.
then for me, specifically to revenue and marketing, I have a system where it's automated when I have a new client come in and they're trying to pay for services. I have a system where I, I automatically send an invoice through PayPal to get what I
Mhm.
need. And then also for marketing, I create all of the assets and then I schedule for the marketing throughout the week. And that has been extremely helpful.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
system that I kind of use for marketing there um,
That's good.
to get that out.
And then even your revenue part, right? So that part right there, I just heard that. So this is how I get paid. It-
Exactly.
so setting up these things is like, well, they click a button and I see it on my email that I got paid. What happens next? Automatically, I then do this. Here's what, sometimes people are the closers, and it depends on the size of your business and what you're willing to spend and all these types of things. I like to have a system where somebody wants to buy something, they download it and they get it.
Mhm.
And I look in there and go, oh, I got $19, or I got $190, or I got, depending on um the cost of it. But that becomes your opportunity. Now, if you're still in the business of showing up and delivering, which is nothing wrong with that,
Mhm.
it's not scaling in the particular way yet. Well, then what pings you when people pay you? That's part because Ashley's got to show up. She's got to go, okay, what do you need? You need a resume done. You need da da da, right? Dang, now I'm saying right. Um, so, um, so you see, that becomes one of those revenue things. I just want you to looking at every single thing you do. Now, if you're an employee and you're seeing that we don't have that, have them talk to us. We will help them put that kind of stuff together. And then on a decision making side, like we talked about it before, if you've got like virtual assistants, or if you're that person's assistant, that decision making, you give them, suggest to them, you gotta trust me enough to make the decision. You can give
Absolutely.
me parameters. I'll give you an example. Here's a parameter. Just like you would do with a GPT or creating a Claude skill or something like that, they can give it to you and you can run it. Every time they give you something to do, you can load it up into the GPT and the GPT will print out, do this, and this. That's how that person is allowed to run their business in a different way, be out there getting more business and thinking up stuff like that. So get it out of the person. If you're their assistant, get it out of them. Say, just write down all the things that you see that needs to happen next, and next. I'm going to not only do it, but I'm also going to program it so that anybody else could do it too.
And so with the decision making, I want to come from a lens of an employee. I have a clear example to where the decision making, as long as the aisles are clear. And let
Mhm.
me explain that. If you're working on a project with multiple colleagues, knowing whose scope of work of doing what, so when you're making those decisions, that it's clear and you don't have to rely on others to make those clear decisions. So it's all about making sure that there's clear roles to have to be able to
Mhm.
make those decisions.
It's good.
So
Clear roles.
clear roles, clear roles. And so we can kind of get a little bit into hustle versus systems, right? Like, what is the reaction versus predictable, right? When you're thinking about your hustle versus the systems, what does that clearly say? What does that story tell, right? And just like you mentioned, Randy, before, if you have a business where you're delivering those services, sometimes it can be difficult to separate the two, right? But you have to think about incorporating more of those systems, right? And so, Randy,
Yes, Ashley, right.
when it comes out to your business or the
You're right.
organization,
You can tell a person wants to be right, needs to
right?
be, because I'm the same way. Right, and people are going, yeah, yeah. Watch what people
Founders,
say when they're just talking.
that's true.
You'll find, but you're right in that, and we don't want to assume. Listen, y'all,
Mhm.
this is how we get down, but we don't want to assume that you got it.
Right.
So we want to be open and ask, how so far are you getting it? Are you able to look at this and go, I've heard this before, the hustle versus system, but man, people say system all the time. System. What do you
Mhm.
mean? That's why we're giving and going a little bit further and giving examples. So we also talk about it from multiple perspectives. Again, AshRand Career Solutions. We talk about business, we talk about career, we talk about life. So if you think about this and you go, okay, am I hustling in life by always just being reactive and not predictive? Am I hustling in my career always being on the I got to go find the next thing? Or am I being predictive?
Mhm.
And we start saying in business as well, how's it affected me? So when we suggest these things to you, we want you to be able to ping them across all parts of you,
And from an
literally.
employee lens as well, when it comes to anything that you're interested as far as like a promotion, and you're trying to pretty much show that value there, we don't want to be reactive in that. We want to strategize as to how we can articulate what we bring to the table to where you're not constantly burning out trying to do all of these things to show that value that you feel like you need to show for a promotion, right? We want to have those systems in place, strategize so that you're not overworking yourself and you're not relying so much on the hustle to show that you can move to the next level. So that's
So
another
think about this too. I see up here when we talk about founder dependent versus the sustainable.
one. Mhm.
Listen, some places won't even invest in you unless you have a co-founder. Now think about that for a minute. Why is that? A co-founder? Yeah. Somebody else that helps you do stuff. But imagine this now. Because of we're in an era of being able to use certain tools. The tools can do a lot of this systemization for us, systematizing.
Mhm.
So you could be the founder, and then if you can list all the systems you have in place, now you have a sustainable, a potentially sustainable business. Here's what I do when this happens. Here's what I do when this happens, or here's what does it for me. That's a possibility as well.
Absolutely. And so, what does these systems look like, right? And we kind of cover this a little bit
Yes,
where you want to establish the templates.
I'm messing with Ashley
Templates
now.
is a huge thing. No, I'm serious. Like when it comes down to systems, you have to have templates. For
Yeah,
example, as a resume writer, I always have a few designs, a few templates that I'm going to use ready to go.
yeah.
And so I'm not spending a lot of extra time trying to figure out what designs. I show my clients a few templates, a few designs that they love, and they
Hmm.
choose from them, and I work with those. And that has been helpful.
And that's really cool because, especially in the age of AI, in the age of AI, you could go out there and go, okay, I'm gonna throw my stuff in here. But now a lot of these tracking systems are kind of going, that's some trash. So having, like someone on the other end doing it for you also helps. These templates, automation, what automatically happens as a result of when somebody, like I was telling you, like in Bill, I signed up for the webinar. I immediately, that's an automation. I got a call. That's an automation. But what about this clear offer stuff? What are you talking about there?
When you are establishing pricing or offering whatever services that you're offering to your client base, make sure that it is clear when it comes with. So, for example, if you provide package services, making sure that the offers that are a part of that package is being delivered to the client and you're not trying to add a little bit
Yes.
and customizing for clients. You have to stick with the package because that
Correct.
helps with that system, right? So that's what I meant by clear offers, making sure that what your client is receiving and it's a part of that package, that it's clear and it's clean, and it's not you having to customize and change it to where it essentially becomes more work for yourself. Now, if your client needs something different and you have to change and it's not exactly that package, then follow on those offers. But if it's a package and you have to adjust it, that can be done later.
Sure.
But when you are delivering and having those offers, ensuring that they are clear, will be able to help you create that system as well.
And I think too, when we think about rhythms,
Mhm.
there should be something, and I hate to tell grown folks what they should do, but there should be something that you're doing on a regular basis Now, hear me out. On a regular basis, that rhythm that is designed to do something for the business. Now, if you're on the employee side of this and you're looking, now you can, again, you can address this and add this to life situations. What do you take a bath every night? Well, that's a rhythm. All right. Do you take a bath once a week? I'm just saying, hopefully not. But that becomes the rhythm of the business. What do we do all of the times? Oh, Fridays we have a meeting before the weekend to talk about where we are with revenue, where we are with our pipeline, where we are. So, getting into those weekly rhythms is going to save you a lot of hassle
Hmm.
because you don't have to think about it now. That becomes one of the key things. If it's a rhythm, I don't have to brute force it. I don't have to apply discipline to it. It is a thing that I do because it's the weekly rhythm.
And again, those templates, automation, clear offers, and weekly rhythms are going to help you. And so keep that in mind. So here are some common system myths. The one thing that I had to learn was too small for systems. What I mean by that is when I started my business, I didn't think I needed a system when I was working with all of three clients. I'm like, I don't think I need
I need
that.
no
I can just
system.
service them.
Just three of y'all.
It's just three of y'all. I can figure it out.
Three turns into 30.
And that is sort of what happened. Right? And because I didn't set that system early, it wasn't there.
Yeah,
And burnt out happened extremely quickly.
I know because she just disappeared. I didn't see her for a while.
And that happens. And so that's why it is important. Even if you have a smaller business,
Yeah.
it is important to set those systems early.
It's interesting too when I've heard this before and I've said this before. Oh my gosh, I got a system that limits my creativity. Well, it should increase your activity or your creativity because now you know what your parameters are.
Mhm.
So don't do this. You got all the space in between to do all kinds of stuff. So get creative in there.
And the
But this one that
biggest,
this
go
last
ahead.
one,
Mhm.
Ashley, this is the insidious one. I
I
suffer
say it
from
all the
this
time.
myself, y'all. I'm not even
Me
gonna tell
too.
you no lie.
Mm-mm.
I'll build it later.
Yes.
When? When? That's what I'm asking y'all. When? When?
Now I'll plug in the most infamous line. I'll start Monday. And then
I
Monday
start
turns
today.
into
Start now.
Tuesday,
Start now.
turns to Wednesday, turns into Thursday,
Yeah,
then and
start
then
now.
next Monday.
The moment I say something like that, I can't remember the name of this author,
Mhm.
but she has this 5 4 5 4 3 2 1 thing. I think it's Mel Robbins, I believe.
Okay.
5 4 3 2 1. That's her way of saying whatever it is. I 5 4 3 2 1 and go. I'm pretty sure it might be Mel or can't think of the other lady's name. But anyway, but that's the method. Do it now. If you think about it, do it now. Do it. Oh, I can get this done now. Well, go toward it. Something. Go toward it. Go ahead.
And again, progress over perfection. It doesn't have to always be figured out, but we do not want to push things off for later because later becomes a month and years. And so
Yeah,
we do not want that,
that's
right?
true.
And so where to start? Where do you start to kind
With
of build
us,
those
just
systems?
saying,
Yeah.
we got you. You want us to help you? You want us to help
Yeah.
you? We will.
Because although this list of things seem very simple, it takes time
Yeah,
and
simple but not
practice.
easy.
It's simple but not easy.
Document. What does that mean? Oh, Ash, what do you mean? Oh my God. What do you mean by document? Oh, I got to write stuff down? No. Well, what do you do? Document that.
Hmm.
Here's something I've been doing. I'm gonna give you all an example, and then we're gonna let you go. Trust me, I promise. Documenting. So I was getting ready to do so, and you create content this way as a content
Mhm.
creator, especially. So I was getting ready to try a new something, right? So, I'm always trying new things. So I was getting ready to try it. So I decided, let me just turn on, as I'm trying it, let me just turn on my screen record. That's documenting.
Mhm.
Let me just turn on the screen record. And as I'm figuring it out, and there's some cuss words on there too, as I'm trying to figure it out, I now can document it as I go. I happen to forget that it was on, but that's another story. I forgot that it was on and I'm getting after it, man. You know, so document allows you to just go, I'm gonna be doing it anyway. Why not document it? And then simplify. What does that involve?
That's involved with you setting up one thing at a time. Do not overcomplicate anything that you're trying to accomplish. It can be as simple as you need it to be. So let's not make it overcomplicated. If you
Simplify,
need to be
simplify,
able to
simplify.
connect, connect, right? Let's not overcomplicate those things. Let's
Yeah.
simplify.
Determine this too. You're the bottleneck, and I've been the bottleneck, and in certain cases I still am. I'll give you a really quick example. All right. So every morning I would get up and I would go buy my coffee. I would go around the corner. It was close to my house, but it was, it still took 3 to 4 minutes or whatever. Well, that was an interruption to my focus. So I finally, last night, says, you know what, dude? This is messing up your groove because you get up, you go get the coffee, you sit there for a couple of hours doing this, that, and the third, whatever. I call it planning. No, you're bottlenecking. You're bottlenecking your success or bottlenecking the thing that you said you were going to get done with this activity. Although it was good and you said, okay, it gets you sunshine and blah, it was a bottleneck. I was creating another bottleneck for my life. Now I says, go get your coffee, or I went and got a coffee maker. So now I just go in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
make the coffee, sit at my desk, work, bottleneck fixed. Just like that. Now I'm not even going to get into the money I'm saving. 'Cause I would go spend, and my coffee is not. I take black coffee. It's $4. It's no, it's $3. $3. But every now and then, guess what I would do? I would go, well, I think I'm gonna have some breakfast. Wait, what? Yeah, because I'm already at the spot.
Yeah.
But the time involved. You fix the bottleneck, you begin to fix potential other problems. Sometimes it's in momentum.
Mm-hmm.
You messed up your momentum. And you've heard about that with focus. There's a cost. So I start running it through one of the GPTs. I says, hey, not only tell me what I'm saving for, saving for doing it this way, I got to go buy coffee now and blah, blah, blah. And it addressed for all that. I said, but the 6 to 10 minutes is going to take me to get around the corner, bundle up because I live in Michigan, all that, and the cost of focus lost. I says, add it up. And it was like, oh my God. It says, well, you buy coffee every day. That's $3 times 7 days. That's $21. 21 times four is $84. So, you're spending $84 on coffee a month. And I'm thinking, what? There's some software I could buy.
Yeah. It starts to add up,
And
doesn't it?
it added up the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but should we do it all together, all at once, though, Ash, or should we build it one at a time?
No, absolutely. We need to build it once at a time, especially if you are a person that do not have those rhythms already. Obviously, that's you. You have to build at a time because then you can overstimulate yourself and it's a lot. And then you just throw it to the side again. And you don't want to do that. So we want to just take one step at a time when we are trying to build those systems. Rather, that looks like those templates that we talked about, automation, right? Clear offers, all of those things, just one thing at a time until you can actually build out a full system. And I'm going to stop sharing this at this moment so we can kind of get more into it. And so, really, That's exactly what you'll need to build those systems with your business as well as working for a full-time employee. Because again, if you do not have these systems, we have to ensure that you do not burn out and that you can sustain yourself. And so that's it from us. And Randy, you have anything you want to add at this time?
That's it, y'all. I think just understand what we're trying to do here. And we're going to leave you the notes for this because we want you to be able to give this to your employer but if it's you, we want you to be able to see it again. So we'll make the notes available to you in the description field if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you want to talk to us directly, typically, I'll leave either mine or Ashley will put in hers, how you get in touch with us. And then let's just rock it from there. Y'all good with that? Hopefully so. We'll see you on the next show.
All right.